The military police came for me at reveille. They came at reveille. Boots pounding the barracks floor, the metallic crack of the door thrown open, the smell of sweat and disinfectant still thick in the morning air. "Captain, on your feet. You're under arrest." I didn't resist, didn't even ask why. Their eyes told me enough. Cold, relieved, like men who had been waiting for this moment. They cuffed me in front of the others. My men watched in silence. No one spoke. A few lowered their eyes. The humiliation was deliberate, surgical. "Your wife and kids testified against you," one of the MPs muttered, almost enjoying the sting of the words. I felt nothing. Or maybe too much. A sudden stillness inside me, like the world had gone underwater. Betrayal is a kind of silence. It doesn't roar, it suffocates. At the station, they pushed me into a chair, steel cuffs biting my wrists. The room smelled of stale coffee and smoke. "You get one call," the MP said, shoving the phone toward me. "Who you calling?" I dialed without hesitation. "It's none of your business," I said. I didn't call her. I didn't call them. An hour later, the door burst open. The Secretary of Defense stormed in, his voice echoing like thunder against the walls. "Release him immediately!" The MPs froze. Then his voice sharpened, colder than I'd ever heard it. "Detain his wife." The silence that followed was the kind that breaks bones. And I finally allowed myself to breathe. They thought I would crumble at the accusation, that I would beg, plead, weep for the family I built and the lies they carried. But I knew something before they ever opened their mouths. She had been distant for months. The way her eyes drifted past me when I returned from deployment. The way the children avoided my gaze, as though instructed to. Affection became rehearsed. Their words, careful, too careful. I recognized the choreography of betrayal. At first, I told myself it was fatigue, that war had scarred my perception, not them, that paranoia was eating me alive, not reality. But the silence grew louder. The phone calls at odd hours, cut short when I entered the room. The bills that didn't match. The subtle perfume on the kids' clothes that wasn't hers. And then the file. A classified report that crossed my desk by coincidence, or maybe fate. His name was in it, the man she had chosen, a civilian contractor, my subordinate in a way, though he never wore a uniform. He moved money, and he moved her. The children were part of it too, coached, trained to say the right words if questioned. Little soldiers in her war against me. Each night I lay in bed beside her, watching the slow rise and fall of her chest, knowing she carried betrayal in her lungs. I didn't touch her, didn't speak more than necessary. I let her believe I was tired, distracted, broken by the weight of my service. But inside, I was sharper than I had ever been. The evidence arrived in a sealed envelope. DNA results. One child was mine, the other wasn't. Cold ink on paper, numbers that stripped away the last illusion. I sat at the kitchen table when I slid the envelope across to her. She laughed at first, thinking it was another deployment order, another formality. "Read it," I said. Her hand trembled as she unfolded the page. I watched the blood drain from her face, her lips parting without sound. She tried to speak, to deny, to explain, but the weight of truth crushed her words before they could escape. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. My silence was a blade pressed against her throat. "You knew," she whispered, tears forming. I nodded once. That was all. I told no one else. Didn't scream, didn't rage. I let the silence follow her like a shadow. She thought the worst had passed when no immediate consequences came. But silence is not mercy. It is the slow tightening of a noose. The secretary's arrival that morning was not coincidence. I had already laid the ground. Quietly, precisely. Every lie she told, every forged testimony, every false accusation, documented and delivered to the only man whose voice outweighed hers. So when he ordered her detention, it wasn't outrage, it was inevitability. I didn't look at her as the MPs led her away. Her sobs echoed down the hallway, but they didn't reach me. She had used my children as weapons. She had tried to dismantle me piece by piece. But she forgot one thing. My life was built on patience, on strategy, on the long game of survival. She had chosen a battlefield she could not win. I was free by noon. The charges evaporated as quickly as they appeared. She sat behind bars, waiting for explanations that would never come. I visited neither her nor the children. Love had been replaced with calculation, and calculation does not forgive. In the mirror that night, I saw the same face, but colder, sharper, stripped of illusions. I didn't lose a family. I lost a theater of actors. And as I closed my eyes, the final thought was clear, precise, undeniable. She had tried to destroy me with lies. Instead,